Well, it's time for another movie review. 2 for the price of 1. Free. So anyways, the Fantastic Four first steps will be the first review, and then I'll do Happy Gilmore 2 after. Also, these are going to be a lot shorter than the other reviews I've done so far, which it was because I wanted to condense these to like 1 or 2 paragraphs. Mostly because I wouldn't say it's not that I don't have a lot to say about them. It's that personally, I just what's the right way to put this? I just wanted to be very straightforward with what I feel about this without wasting time. I mean, you know, if you watch my videos, it's very hard to say all this in one go without just losing my breath. But what's important is that I give you exactly what I think, and therefore, you know, if my opinion exists, therefore your opinions exist if we're aligning with it. And if it's different, you're the ones who are wrong and I'm right. There's no such thing as a different opinion. Okay, my bad jokes aside, let's get into it. So I guess a bit of a disclaimer, I guess. Well, you know, if you're going to ask me, am I a fan of the Fantastic Four comics, like besides the movies and the shows growing up, have I ever read the actual comics? This is the only Fantastic Four comic I've ever read. What if the Fantastic Four's second child had lived? Which, I mean, that's how I found out they had a first child since they never got there with the movies. You know, even if this was just okay, it'd be the best Fantastic Four movie by default. I mean, it's the 4th Fantastic Four movie in the last 20 years. So, yeah, we all saw the trailers. We all know the premise. It's separated from the main MCU, as the timeline is the 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic world of Earth 828, which, by the way, it's a Jack Kirby reference, which, you know, I don't think you should wait till the very end of the movie, and I mean the end credits, to reveal that's what the reference is to. Like, I think you could just cut to when the movie's over and it'd be much more powerful. But, you know, but still, the Fantastic Four First Steps is a great superhero movie that, even if it's by default the best, it had such an amazing everything to it. Like, it really is a great superhero movie. It's something where, yeah, it's easy to compare it to other things going on with a lot of other superhero movies and movies in general, but it's just something that I really feel like stands out right now because of so many other examples. I mean, it has an amazing setting, an excellent cast, great action when it's on screen. The score by Michael Giacchino might just be the best score this year. People joke The Incredibles were the best Fantastic Four movies prior, and it felt more literal now, given the whole story revolves around the baby, and the sense of these four as a family has never felt stronger. It's something where, having seen The Underminer and now The Mole Man, it never really clicked with me just how much more it's inspired by that than I realized. But people joke about all this and that. So I guess I should actually talk about why I really like this movie sincerely. Pedro Pescal, as I'm going to talk about the cast, maybe he's a bit in a lot of things this year. Like, you know, I wouldn't say there's a fatigue for Pedro Pescal because, god damn it, he may be in a lot of stuff, but he's proven he's no one-trick pony. He's just amazing in everything he's in, and this movie is no exception, as he and Vanessa Kirby have such fantastic chemistry. I love the Human Torch in this, since usually as a comic relief, I forget he's also smart, and I love his plot with the Surfer. I think Ben Grimm was okay, thanks to Ebon Moss-Bachrach's performance, but he lacks an arc, which it's sort of set up with his love interest with Natasha Lyonne, but we don't even know how it's resolved. It wasn't until, like, I was reminded of all the stuff they deleted from the trailer, where, you know, if it was going to be in the movie, it was cut. Like, not just the tour of their building, but also Ben Grimm was going to be on that dating show. Like, I know, The Red Ghost was cut, but I forgot just how much more. And it's definitely because, you know, more time for people to go to the theaters, because there's less time for the movie, so, you know, it'll be a blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it feels like if I had to fix his arc, it feels like it should focus more on how he's accepted and how, you know, for him, it looks like people accept him now, but, you know, there's still that, you know, feeling of being seen as an outsider where even if you're accepted, people just see you differently because he's a rock monster. I don't know. I also feel like maybe, besides the inner-turmoil, this movie just needed, like, one more action scene. Like, it feels like the show, at the beginning with the whole Ted Gilbert interview, and you see the montage of all the crimes they've fought over the years, which is good. I just feel like that when they do at the end this joke of, we gotta leave the show to fight crime, before we can even appear. I feel like that should have been at the beginning of the movie, because they get alerted to a crime and they team up to show off their skills rather than a montage where it's like you get a glimpse at it. But other than that, when there is action, it's great. And the one space fight might be one of the best in all the MCU. And while I don't think Galactus is a complex character, his menace works, and he feels otherworldly and devoid of humanity. It's a great superhero movie that I will say is more consistently working than Superman at a lot of points, but with the world design and focus, it's just, to me, I don't think it reaches the highs that movie does. Like, I think Superman does reach higher highs, but that doesn't mean this movie is a series of lows. It's just choose and pick, because that's just all opinion. Like, I'd rather have both of these movies be good rather than just a competition, because yeah, even if it doesn't reach those highs, this movie does truly have memorable visuals, heart, etc. And it's all up to preference. Really, it's still memorable and does a lot more stuff in a more spoilery discussion for me to talk about. And I'm glad we finally have a Fantastic Four movie that maybe isn't the most fantastic it's ever gonna be, but it's still an incredible movie and just a great time at theaters. And sure, I could talk about more and more, but to be frank, I feel like I can just say all of that and we're good. The Fantastic Four First Steps is an 8 out of 10. Okay, now let's talk about Happy Gilmore 2, because we can't have everything we want. Look, I might be a bit biased because I was in line for 4 hours to audition as a background extra in this movie, and I didn't get the part, but to be frank, no, I'm not biased. This movie is so hit and miss that it literally feels like how I feel about this movie will be depending on my mood someday. Like, I'll think back to it and be like, it was alright. And right now, I feel like Happy Gilmore 2 is a mediocre modern-day comedy that definitely was made for Netflix. Not that it's cheap or... No, I mean, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't pay money to see this on the big screen. But hey, what would have pushed me over the edge would have been that. And honestly, it's just, the curve is, well, seeing the trailer for The Naked Gun, they did this PSA where it's talking about the lack of comedies coming out. And yeah, it really did me think that they still exist. It's just kind of not something you see in the theater anymore. Like, the last one I remember seeing on the big screen that was a pure comedy was Joyride. And there is still the fun of laughing with a crowd, but, you know, the money's just not worth it when I wouldn't say comedies like these take advantage of the big screen, like an Edgar Wright movie, much less lack the soul of one. The story is just whatever to get the jokes they want to tell across, and while it's been a while since I saw the first movie, I remembered enough where every time I flash back to it now, I felt patronized. But I did forget that he killed his father by accident, so I say this because the plot is happy this time kills Julie Bowen's character, and I would say this movie downright fridges her, which if you don't know what fridging is, it's when you kill off the spouse in the story for the main character of the movie to be motivated, while that character is relegated to just being a tool. So, you know, still, I would say the movie... yeah, just Dust is so happy can end up at rock bottom and work its way back to the top. It's just, I think you could keep her alive, and Happy is still an alcoholic out of the game, and he returns to goth so his child can go to dance school. You know, the best type of comedies aren't just the ones with the best jokes, but also in their own right tell a compelling comedy and story. And sure, balance is subjective. What I'm saying is this movie isn't balanced. I just think I can get past the weak, predictable story since it's meant to be a comedy and not something pretentious like The Unbreakable Boy was, considering the story is so whatever here and that movie was bad. Look, as a comedy though, it is incredibly hit and miss. And I think for me, the movie has enough good jokes I can recommend it, but you have to already be a fan of Sandler's type of juvenile humor at times, which sometimes I am, and then wait for the more universal absurd jokes that anyone can get behind, like comparing Happy acting like an idiot in the first movie to something where, like, Abe Lincoln randomly showing up with Chubbs and the Crocodile in Heaven. I'll say at least that's the kind of funny thing that I think anyone could get behind. And unlike Hubie Halloween, where that character is so obnoxiously stupid for a guy in his 50s, Happy isn't a childish idiot as, you know, you expect him. He's still dumb, but less so. So enough by, I believe, his age of 58 that I just don't think Sandler can play this type of role forever, because it's less charming when, even by the suspension of disbelief, the older you get, the more mature you should be. So it's something where, as a father in this type of story, you're like, well, I'm really worried at this point. So yeah, it's also the type of comedy where if the jokes that fall flat wouldn't bother me, I call it okay, but when it doesn't, oh man, this movie can get really obnoxious. Like, his four sons always annoyed me and made me cringe. The cameos did get annoying since it's like, it's only funny if you know it as a cameo, and sometimes, like, the real-life golfers work, since likely, even if you didn't know who they were, they play to a comedic aspect well enough where it's like, the one who ends up in jail gave me a good big laugh. Then you have a scene where Eric Andre, Margaret Qualley, and one of the Please Don't Destroy guys just have this extended sequence to show Happy sucks at golf now before training himself, and it's only funny in the sense of this being such a weird lineup of cameos, but other than the punchline of the scene, I guess, where he just... Now, it goes on for a while, though, so well, it's hit and miss. But some cameos drag the movie's pacing. Like, Chubbs apparently had a son who also lost his hand, and you could cut this character out and it changes nothing. It feels like the original thing that was going to happen was the actor who played Chubbs was going to be in the heaven scenes, and Julie Bowen would have been alive. But, you know, whatever. Okay, something more positive to talk about. The best jokes from movies are when it does take something from the original and does something new with it. Like Ben Stiller as Hal being in charge of the AA meetings, or what I wish we had more of with Happy and McDonald's shooter character acting off each other, since Christopher McDonald seems to be having such a great time being allowed to go over the top like never before. There are tons of great jokes in the movie, like the graveyard scene where the punchline of the woman who was killed by the air vent in the first movie made me laugh my ass off. While not complex, Ben Safdie, director of Uncut Gems, and surprisingly good actor in other movies, like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, plays the main antagonist of this movie, and he's really good at being this 90s-esque comedy bad guy. I will say, again, with the plot, the whole maxi golf course, like, he wants to make this ultra-extreme golf course to make golf cooler. It's kind of underwhelming since the whole attempt to make golf more fun, it's like something like Holy Moly, where it was like this game show where it's mini golf meets Wipeout. Where here, it feels like someone just modded a regular golf game, and it's like, wow, it's a different environment. Still the same game, but still the final climax on the spinning course actually engaged me, and it was a little clever. So it's something where, and also I'll say this, having watched this before, the rest of my family, us laughing together, it does really show this is the type of thing where the best type of comedies are with, you know, friends and families to watch. And, you know, it's better to laugh with others than it is to just be alone to laugh. But still, it's just the kind of movie where I could still discuss more if I want to. But to be frank, I don't really. I think when it's funny, it's one of the best things to come out of Happy Madison. But when it's not, it feels dated and some of the worst examples of fan service. Since I don't think Happy Gilmore, beloved as it is one of the best things to use for callbacks when it's a comedy with only one movie to exist in this franchise. It's not even a franchise. It's just, this is a sequel to that. And I doubt they're ever going to do a third movie. Look, it's something where it's say if the new Naked Gun movie does come out, and if it references something in the second movie, well, I haven't seen that movie, so I've only seen the first Naked Gun. Look, what I'm saying is that there's room to call back to without feeling like it can rehash everything, but there has to be enough wiggle room on its own, where this movie doesn't really. And it's just, it's the most distracting film to cut back to prior, since obviously these are two differently made films, so it always felt like I'm watching the other movie rather than, oh man, I wonder when this happened, or whatever. Like, it's just not seamless. This is the worst example of cutting back to the other film since The Matrix Resurrections. Bizarre sentence as it is. Like, it's just really distracting. However, the cast is trying, and there is a fun energy to it, where if the jokes are the ones you like out of the first one, you'll have the type of fun once more here. It's just, it probably won't win you over if you weren't already a fan, and it's already a hit and miss comedy, where it's okay at best, but for me, if you weren't already a fan, it's a bad time. And look, when it's okay, it's at its best for me. It's just, it misses too many times. But it really just depends on its audience. It's not going to win you over. But for those who are already fans, chances are you'll get exactly what you want out of this. And for me, it's some focus and a 50-50 shot on always being funny or cringy. But it's never lazy. It's just the type of Netflix comedy film that it is what it is. And if it's your thing, it will work for you. But it's not for me. It's just, it didn't work enough for me. It's like, it's just that close, but it just wasn't enough jokes. And there are better examples of what's come before and after. Okay, well, not after. This is the most recent movie I saw. The point is, there are better comedy movies to watch than Happy Gilmore 2. On its own, it may be fine if it's your type of thing, but and for me, there was just too many bad jokes. Those four sons were so obnoxious. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Happy Gilmore 2. I give Happy Gilmore 2 a 5.5 out of 10. it really is the type of movie, it'll just depend on the day it is, that if I like it or not, and right now, I don't.